Hello, Durango community. Today, we're excited to show you the next phase of our plans for Miller Middle School. This schematic design, communication plan, and PowerPoint will provide more details into this exciting state-of-the-art school, specifically designed for our 6th through 8th graders who will be attending Miller Middle School and for our community at large. Again, we cannot thank you enough for passing the bond and putting your investment and your trust into our school district so that we can create an optimal place for our students to learn. Today, you will also hear about the exciting instructional plans for this school and how we will create a learning environment that is second to none so that our students are prepared for their future. I'm going to turn it over now to Jackie Squires, project manager, who can give us a little bit about the agenda and how you can provide feedback.
Great, thanks, Karen. As you mentioned, I'm Jackie Squires, project manager and architect with Cunningham. Today, for this presentation, we'll talk a little bit about how to leave feedback if you have questions or comments about what you see today. We'll talk a little bit about the instructional plans and the curriculum opportunities that are coming out of this project. We'll look at some of the CHIPS priorities, the sustainable priorities that have come out of some workshops that we've held with members of the community and members of Miller Middle School. We'll go into a little bit more detail about the schedule, specifically the construction schedule and what that will start to look like. And then we have some exciting new images about where the design has been headed since you saw it last time. And we'll wrap up with a few next actions of what's happening in the next couple months. So similar to the programming update that we gave, there is an opportunity to leave your comments. So you can use this link to go on and fill out the form. The district will be notified when the form is submitted, so they'll know that you've left a comment and they'll share that out with the team. The link will close by 5 p.m. on May 13th. So please leave your comments before then, and we will address those comments through the design or through this update. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dylan to talk about some of the feedback that we got from the programming update.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dylan Cannell, Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment for Durango School District 9R. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to present tonight. So we do take your feedback seriously. And recently I was reading something on a different project, and it reminded me that constraint both demands and propels creative problem solving. And I think many of the questions and feedback that we got last time have been areas where our team as a design group has been playing in the playground, in the sandbox, so to speak, of creating great opportunity out of what might be perceived as constraint. So tonight, we just wanted to give you a follow-up on 4 areas that we've been thinking a lot about and just give you an update on where we are with that. So the first one is, if anyone who's been in the Miller building currently and then checking out some of the schematic designs, there's been a recognition that we are reducing square footage. And again, that might be perceived as a constraint, but there are many incredible opportunities happening in our design thinking as a result. One of those is that through smart use of space, we've been able to move from what is currently 5 team spaces at Miller to the opportunity to expand into 6 learning pods so that there's an opportunity to add more teams later down the road. So in that regard, we've created even more adequate space for learning. Additionally, we are thinking about how we can use all spaces smartly. One example of that would be, instead of having corridors that are sheerly for moving kids to and from classrooms, we've reduced those types of movement spaces and turned them into opportunities for collaboration, student-driven project work, and they became learning environments as well. So through those really smart uses of space, we've created something that actually opened up more environments for learning and student-centric opportunity. And I think that there's an opportunity here to think about sustainability as well in terms of our environmental footprint and the economy of what it takes to power those schools and those rooms. Additionally, we've had the hard knock of shared school not being able to be part of Miller Middle School in the future. But due to that, there's been a great conversation emerging, and Karen Chesser will be leading a task group in the near future this month to really understand all of the interests, ideas, and perspectives of our great shared school community, so that we can come up with a great solution for those students to continue in our program. There were questions and ideas about the performance space, and we know that we have a very classical type of performance auditorium right now with a lot of history, and we want to continue to honor the program and the students and the great work that's happening to have fantastic orchestra, band, and even increasing program. Some more, I'll let Doug talk about that later. But we also had these other interests. We wanted to have the opportunity to open up Miller Middle School to our local business leaders, to college professors, to other people. And then additionally, we wanted to really value student perspective about the kinds of space that they would want. So rather than perceiving the loss of a performance space, we found a way to have really three things in one. So first is that we're going to have a learning space similar to what many colleges are creating now, with learning stairs that give the opportunity for presentation, for exhibition, and for experts to come and speak to our students and break down the walls of school and community. We also will have a top-notch performance space designed to hold over 350 audience members and to have like great opportunities for presentation, performance in like a fantastic stage and acoustics in the environment. And then finally, probably most importantly to the students, a place for them to gather even in those informal times, so that they can have an opportunity to be with friends, eating their lunch, maybe perhaps even learning at the same time in a space that is designed for the way that they like to gather. So really, we're getting three things that are fantastic out of one space. And there's been a lot of great design thinking from the DAG to get to that point. And then finally, we know that part of the vision of this building and of Miller Middle School is to be inclusive of all students and to make sure it's a place of belonging and connectedness. And so taking accessibility very seriously, understanding, again, that there might be a perceived constraint of multiple floors, but the design team and the architects have worked hard really for two things: to make sure that there's elevators, and also this really neat bridge concept, which creates both indoor and outdoor learning space that's accessible to all students. So we thank you for your feedback. And again, the invitation is to continue to provide that to us, because it pushes us back into that idea of creative problem solving and recognizing multiple perspectives. So thank you again for that. And I'm going to pass it to Devin for our safety minute.
Hi, I'm Devin with Jacobs, project manager for 9R. We like to, as always, go through a safety minute on these presentations. Safety's number one on all projects. So as we get started into the spring and summer, you guys see more construction happening, road construction. Our construction for the summer projects are about to begin. So all I ask is everybody stay vigilant out there when driving, when around our schools this summer. Pay attention to signage. That's really important, so you don't end up being somewhere you're not supposed to be and being in an unsafe environment. So that's my main safety point today, is just be vigilant and pay attention to signage and your surroundings when around construction this summer.
Hi, I'm Doug Gagan. I'm principal of Miller, and it is my opportunity to share a little bit about learning at Miller. And so I'm super excited because this new building is being specifically designed to support the type of learning environment that we are creating. And honestly, the learning environment we're trying to create should really be mirroring work environments that so many of you are involved in. Kids will be at Miller learning in a team environment. And so the pod design, as you'll see today, will support that beautifully. This will be authentic, collaborative learning experiences. Our workshop style classrooms will be places where students are engaged in thinking, making their thinking visible, collaboratively problem solving, involved in student discourse, and this will all be supported with specific teacher feedback to help kids advance their learning and understanding. Additionally, at Miller, we are developing some exciting new program, and our new building is going to be such a great match for it. Right now, we are developing some engineering programming that will be kicked off next year at 7th and 8th grade. These involve classes such as robotics, programming and engineering design process. It's going to be fantastic. An exciting piece of this is that these classes will be aligned to Durango High School's career pathways. Kids who are ready can actually start taking some of these pathway classes for high school credit while still at Miller in 8th grade. Maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is when you're a junior and senior and you have opened up all sorts of opportunities because you've taken care of some credits early in your career. So pretty exciting stuff. Additionally, we're going to advance our performing arts program. Right now, we have a strong music program, and we're bringing on drama. This is really important in our new design because it was vital that we developed a performance space that was going to support not just music, but drama. And honestly, it is going to be the heart of our school. So kids will be performing, singing, dancing, acting in a state-of-the-art stage right at the center of our school. Additionally, we've been able to design some beautiful athletic facilities. We know at Miller, we have a lot of kids that are involved in this kind of programming, and we know through research that kids who are involved do better in school. And so that is a really important piece of Miller Middle School. Our gym design is an improvement over our current design. We are able to run 2 athletic competitions concurrently in our new gym. Right now, some of our students do have to compete at some of our local elementary schools. I can tell you, I have not had one middle schooler come to me and say, Mr. Gagan, I'd rather be competing at the elementary. No, they want to be in their school at Miller, and in a new building, this will be possible. We will have a fitness room that will support our weights program and fitness classes. It's beautiful. It is going to open up into the outdoors, and that is going to really help support our classes and our students' health and mental mind frame as they're going through these classes. Finally, as you watch this video presentation today, I would be remiss to not talk about just the basics of being a middle schooler. They are social creatures. And one part of the social day that is incredibly important is lunch. Yes, lunch. Our lunchroom, which will be the center of the school in that performing area I told you about, is an indoor-outdoor lunch area that is completely secure. No more eating in the back parking lot like we're doing right now when we love to eat outside. Kids are going to love it. Your kids are going to wake up every day wanting to come to school, especially for that lunch. So I look forward to getting into the new building, and I hope that you are able to put some context of learning and just the student's daily experience into this presentation. I'm going to pass this back to Jackie.
Great, thank you, Doug. So as Doug talked a lot about those things that are happening in the school, what we did when we started this project was created a project vision statement. I believe we shared this with you last time, but we like to share it again at each presentation we do because it's really the grounding for the project that we're working on and where we want to be headed. And so I'm just going to read this briefly. Miller Middle School is a collaborative place where we experience our connection with and impact on the larger Durango community through intentional learning. Our school creates project, experience, exhibition, and performance-based learning with vibrant indoor and outdoor spaces. It is a sustainable and timeless building with a design that includes flexible environments. Miller is a safe, inclusive, and welcoming family that takes pride in our school and our education. So hopefully as I read that, you started picking out some of the words that relate to what Doug just talked about in terms of the spaces, the programs, the excitement that this project is going to bring. Between the last time we talked and now, we also had a CHIPS kickoff workshop. CHIPS stands for Collaborative for High Performance Schools. It's a sustainability element and program that we're working with, and an important factor at 9R. So before we had the workshop, we sent out a survey to a handful of folks, and this is what we got back in terms of priorities. And what we learned is that sustainable strategies have high priority. And as you can see here, everything is between, 4.3 is the lowest, going up to 5.4, but really very close in all of those. And so what we did at the sustainability workshop was really talk about how to prioritize these further. We want to do everything, but what are the things we want to focus on the most? So we did a couple exercises. We split out into 3 different groups to look at some different things. So this one is the resource stewardship. And we asked each group to kind of look at what these things mean and what was a high priority to them, and then to put a purple star on the one that they felt was the highest priority. So you can see here, energy has the largest purple star. That's something that we've continued to hear from both 9R and from Miller Middle School, is the importance of energy and being a more energy efficient building and campus. And then water supply came in as a close second. So looking at how we can start to save water and reduce water as we look at this design. The next group was occupant well-being. Again, I think this comes through in the vision statement, and you'll see this over and over again, but thermal comfort and daylight harvesting were two that really hit home for this group. Making sure that occupants of the building are comfortable so that they learn better, so that they want to be in school, whether that's inside or outside, that they're comfortable and they're learning. And then looking at daylight and making sure that every classroom has windows, that the spaces are bright as they can be. And then you'll see this post-it note down in the corner. I like that, having the ability to control lighting. Because if we're going to bring all this daylight in, we want to make sure that we can also control the artificial lighting, so we don't have all the lights on and all this daylight coming in. So those were the high points for the occupant well-being group. And then our third group was curriculum. And you'll see that one large star there in between outdoor learning and community access. This group saw a lot of overlap with these two, as both the community and the folks at Miller Middle School using that outdoor learning and having access to different things around the campus. So those are things that we're looking into further as we start to prioritize our CHIP scorecard and really understand how that impacts the building and the design. So switching gears a little bit to project schedule. This is the design schedule, very similar to what you saw last time. We are tracking with our schedule. So as noted, we are recapping our schematic design, but the design team itself is already in design development. We're furthering these concepts along every day, working towards that May deadline for design development, and then we'll continue through with construction documents. And at each of those phases, we get a little bit more detailed in the work that we're doing. And then we're still on track to open the new building in the August 2024 school year. And I'm going to turn it over to Colin at Bryan Construction to talk a little bit more about that construction timeframe.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Like Jackie mentioned, I am Colin Weed. I am the executive manager for our Southern Colorado operations with Bryan Construction. And we're going to be the ones that are lucky enough to work with this team in the community to bring Miller home safely and on time. So this is a real high level schedule, and just wanted to give everybody a glimpse of how things are going to be progressing. We'll be starting in January, and then the heavy foundations and superstructure will be from March to August, and then we'll top out, which means we're going to get our last piece of steel, the highest piece of steel in the building sometime in August. The exciting part there is that usually is our first kind of celebration of the project by getting the superstructure in place. And then we're going to start closing things up. We'll get the exterior framing, the facade, and then get right into the building and start getting the interior finishes put together to be done sometime August 24th for turnover. While that's going on, we'll be doing final testing, commissioning, and allowing the district to get in there when the building is safe to do so that everybody is ready to roll for August school start in 2024. Once everybody's moved in and things are going on there, we're going to get going on demoing the existing building. And that will make way for our new sports field. So the building will be down October 2024. We'll get the grading going, get the ball field in place, and get everything turned back over to the community and the school district mid-February 2025. And then to give you a quick glimpse of the phasing of things to kind of put things in visual perspective, the orange area is lower level construction. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of the project, the first piece of what's going to go together, the new build and the renovation of the existing facility that we're keeping in place. So just to, again, follows the same dates and timeline, but gives you kind of a visual look of where our construction areas are going to be. All this will be fenced in, so we're safely away from students and ongoing school activities. And once all of that is up, operational, tested, cleaned up, and ready for students, we'll move everybody across and we'll get to the upper level construction, the blue area. And that's where the demo of the existing school is going to be. We have to put in new bus turnarounds, ball field, everything to get everything finalized and get us out of your hair and into your new exciting facility. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Boone with the local architecture team of Reynolds Ash and Associates. I'll be sharing our design updates with you all today. We were inspired by the local geology and took cues from the patterns, tones, and forms to sculpt the design. Next slide, Jackie. These elements are reflected in our material palette, which includes some masonry, natural wood, and contrasts with metal and glass. Next slide. The front elevation features a composition of all 4 materials across the new 2-story building. Next slide. And the entry is highlighted with a deep overhang clad in wood. Next slide. In this view, you can see the relationship between the existing and the new exterior, which is blended through the common use of a neutral brick and is programmatically linked by a metal-clad bridge. Next slide. This is our current site plan, which includes the relocation of the track and field and basketball courts. It is a similar amount of parking as the existing site, and it features a new outdoor gathering area incorporated along Junction Street. Next slide. The interior material palette includes a blend of 3 schemes to provide variety, identity, and interest in the learning environments. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jackie.
All right. So the things that are coming up immediately, here, as I mentioned, we're in our design development phase. So our team continues to develop the site plan, understanding the grading. We're working on the details of the building and refining things as we go. So that's the design development phase. Some of the Miller Middle School staff is going to visit some schools to see how other schools are working. Doug kind of mentioned that pod system that the Chinook Middle School that they're going to visit has that in place. And so they'll be able to talk to people who are using that, really understand some of the ways that the building can be used and hopefully spark their imagination for the things that they can be doing in this new school. Additionally, our design team will be meeting with the Miller Middle School staff in small groups to listen to them, to hear what's working now and to hear what they would like to see. And then also just refine some of those details, making sure that we're talking to the music folks about the types of storage they need for the instruments, the way that they work, how their practice room should be. So that's one example with music, but we'll touch on each program with the teachers and with some of the students to see what they're excited about. So those are our next immediate steps that'll take place before we provide the next update to you. So thank you all for your time today and your interest in this project. We are excited about it and to see where it will go, and you'll see more updates next time. Thank you very much.